Hey, this is Hiker X. I wanted to share with you a modification for the Z-Packs hip belt pocket. If any of you have this pocket, you know that it's a great hip belt pocket. It's very large, as you can kind of see it. It's cavernous, basically. It's probably one of the larger pockets you can get. But there is probably one downfall to it, and it's the fact that you need two hands to open it, which is kind of cumbersome. So when you're on the trail, you need to reach across your body with one hand and then have another open your hand on the whatever side you're opening on to open the actual zipper itself. So basically what this modification will do is it's going to allow you to operate the zipper with one hand. So that's awesome. It'll make life a lot easier on the trail. So I believe this modification is not a modification that I've come up with. It's something I saw on Backpacking Light, I believe, with Bob Mulder. Was the original person who came up with this, so I'll make sure I credit him as well. So just so you know, it's not my actual modification. This is something that I've seen that I decided that I wanted to try because it looked like it would be just a modification that would really help out on the trail, make life a lot easier. For the modification itself, it's fairly simple in terms of the supplies you're going to need. First of all, you need to buy zip ties. The zip ties you want to buy the ones that are at least 12 inches length, because you're going to need 12-inch lengths, and you're going to need 4 of them. You want them to be about 75 pounds or possibly higher. In this case, I have 125-pound zip ties, and you can see they're pretty wide. They're pretty beefy zip ties. I believe the original modification that was done used 75-pound zip ties, and they worked good, so I'm thinking maybe just go up a little bit, it'll give me a bit more rigidity. The basic premise of the modification is that you will take the 12-inch section and wrap it around the perimeter of the pouch itself, and then you will come and use the Cuben fiber tape, and you will actually just tape it down around the edge. So what that'll do is that's just going to give you some tension around the zipper, so whenever you do go to open it, it'll have rigidity around the edges of the zipper, so it'll open easily. The Cuben fiber tapes can be the only thing that's going to be something that you're probably going to have to order. Most stores aren't going to have this. Zip ties you can probably buy at any big box store, you know, Lowe's, Home Depot, those kind of stores. The Cuben fiber tape, you're going to have to order that. Generally, most people are probably familiar with Z-Packs. Obviously, if you bought your pouch there, you're going to know. Go there and probably buy it. You can get it there. They do sell it. But they sell it in 52-inch increments. Probably going to need a little bit more. You're going to be cutting it really short because you're going to take this and basically divide this length by 4 and cut 4 equal strips. I prefer to have a little bit extra hanging over the edge of the actual zip tie, so I ended up buying mine at Dutch Gear, and he sells it in 56-inch increments, so that's why I ended up buying it. So you have options, so just kind of be aware, you know, look around when you're buying it, and just kind of be mindful of the lengths you're buying as well, because you're going to definitely need, I would say, a minimum 52. Anything more obviously is going to be better, especially if you make a mistake. You probably want to have extra tape on hand because this stuff is a bit difficult to work with, so just kind of keep that in mind. Whenever you do the mod, you're going to have to stuff the pouch to make it workable, because it'll be turned inside out, and you're going to have these edges exposed, and you're going to have them fairly straight so you can easily tape to them. For me, I'm finding that the easiest thing to use is the little packing squares that you get in your packages. I found that probably the perfect amount of packing squares is if you can find 2 that are kind of partially inflated, and then to find one that's really inflated, and put 3 of them in there, 2 partials, 1 full, and it seems to really take up that volume perfectly and gives you a good surface. You press it and you can get that area exposed to kind of do the work around here and get the tape pressed on. So that's in terms of what you're going to need initially, and obviously scissors. You need to cut the Cuben fiber tape. If you have beefy scissors, you'll be able to cut the zip ties as well. If your scissors aren't that beefy, you may need to use a utility knife or something. But that's pretty much all you're going to need to get started with this modification. So let's get into the actual modification itself and show you exactly what we need to do to the pouch. Okay, step one is to take your Cuben fiber tape, and you actually want to measure the complete length that you've gotten, and you want to take that measurement, you want to divide it by 4, and then you want to measure out strips, 4 equal strips. So you have, and then you cut them down. It's kind of important to do that. As I noted earlier, obviously whoever you buy from, they're going to have different lengths that they provide to you, and looking over, you want to just make sure, because obviously what they state, sometimes when they state it's 52 inches, you may get slightly less, slightly more, so you just want to make sure you measure it and then equally divide it. I believe I was saying for Dutch wear gear, they had 56-inch increments, but actually it's 54. So for example, I bought it from them and I measured it, and the actual length that I got was 53 1/4. So it was off by 3/4. So that's why it's kind of important just to kind of do the measurement of the full strip first. Take that number, divide by 4, and you just cut to 4 equal strips. And step 2, basically you just take your zip ties and you measure them 12 inches, and you cut them down. Also, it's kind of important, just maybe look there, make sure you get a nice even cut. You don't want to be slanted too much. If it's really sharp, you can probably take a little maybe sandpaper, and that edge is a little bit sharp, so I may just go take some sandpaper and round those edges over, because they will be essentially up against that fabric, and even though they will be secured, the backside will be pushing out, providing force against the fabric itself. So probably smart to just take these edges and sand them down so you don't have any problems later on with those edges poking through and wearing holes into the actual Cuben fiber fabric, or if you have a Dyneema pack as well, they could provide some sort of extra protection against that. So okay, for step 3, you're going to take this bag and you're going to fold it inside out here, and just basically you want to make sure we're exposing the edges that we're going to be taping to it. So as you're doing it, go through here and just make sure that these edges are formed really good. So let's make sure it's flat, so you have a nice edge to tape on. Take your fingers and maybe run them across the edges here to make sure they're flattened out the best we can get them here. So we'll make sure we give a lot of the surface area where that tape's going to go. We'll make sure that it's can't be crinkle free. You're going to see this naturally, that fabric has crinkle in it, but let's just straighten it out the best we can. And then once we get it set, we can put our packing cubes in. And actually, I found out that 2 fully inflated ones are going to work better for me in this case. The 2 partial and 1 full, a little too much. It's hard to kind of close it. So once you get them in there, and just draw this across and get your things closed, and make sure that these are not pushing in as you do it. So carefully let the zipper closed across. And there we go. We're ready to move on to the next step and get these zip ties prepared to tape onto the bag. Okay, step 4 is you want to basically you want to attach your ties to the taping itself. So you're going to peel the tape backing off, and you want to align it to make sure you have equal tape at the end of each one. You'll have a little bit of excess tape, and that's going to provide as an extra anchor for whenever you attach to the pack. So to do this, you're going to want to peel this backing off. And this backing is kind of tough to peel. You want to kind of work it and from the back, but you want to take your finger and work it till you can get this actual peeled off. And I did this beforehand because it's tough. You don't need to work at it a bit, but once you get it, peel that back off and be very careful because this stuff is sticky. And once you get to the end here, you're going to want to be very careful that does not pop back up. So keep your finger on the end. And there we go. Work this and come down till you get the actual thing exposed here. This part is getting your fingers off of it. There we go. And take this and try to find the middle alignment point, and don't do that. As soon as you put a finger on it, it will stick. So this is going to take probably the most time. And the whole thing is trying to get this taken care of, so I'm just going to do this. Good, I know my basic point is. And just kind of go right down the middle somewhat. There we go. Do that. Set that aside. Take your next one. And kind of repeat. Do the same thing. Get the next one lined up. So you get to the end, take your finger, use that to hold it. You don't want that to peel back up and stick to itself. You'd have a mess. You'd basically have to start over at that point. You wouldn't be able to undo it. This tape is pretty darn sticky. Make sure you have your flat side down. Line it up where it's going to be about, get that equal overhang. And stick it down somewhat, as long as you're in the middle. I mean, you don't need to be overly, but you want to have some overlapping. So now you're going to have two pieces that you'll be ready to stick on the outside of the pack. You can move on to the next step. Step 5. To help make things easier when you attach the ties to the pocket, I find it probably going to be easier to measure the halfway points to help make things align easier. So you really only have one chance to do this. It's going to be very difficult to pull this tape up. So what I've done here is I just go and I'll take this, and you want to line up, make sure you get your 12 inches on your tie, find your 6-inch mark, and I just basically made 2 marks, and I actually did it on the sticky side of the tape. Probably won't matter too much here. I just made little marks here, and I took and I wrapped this around kind of where it looks to be somewhat centered on the, you want to make sure you have these lined up and they're about equal, about an inch overhang on each side, and about an inch overhang, and mark that 6-inch spot on the pack here. Go over and you want to kind of mark it here. So when you put the tape on, you're going to have these lines here to kind of pull off of to help line them up here. So it'll make things a lot easier on the next step. So step 6 here. So this is the step where we're actually going to attach the cable ties to the pack. So you know, so we need to be very careful. And what we do is we're going to take the ties, try to touch the sticky side as much as we can. We have our, you see, we have our lines here to help us to make sure everything's lined up. Like you can see it here, my mark's right here. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this and take the edge of this tape, find our line, and we're going to take it right up. We're even going to go into the black here. We're going to take our tape right on the edge, find the center point, stick that center point in. You have to press, there we go, press your thing to get to go crush it on here. And give it a little bit of wiggle room here. And line that edge of the tape up and go right along the edge of the zipper. Don't get it actually into the actual coils of the zipper. Could have a mess. And what you want to do is take it and then take this edge. This is the most important edge. This is the edge that's going to do a lot of sticking here. It's this edge right along here. Now this tape isn't going to be holding a lot of, obviously you have pressure. This wing's going to want to pop up. So the tape's going to be holding a lot, but once we turn inside out, the actual, it'll be pushing on the, from the inside to the out, so the tape won't have to hold a lot of stress from this zip tie itself. So this is probably the time when you be very careful. Press the outside. Try to get it as neat as you can. Doesn't need to be perfect, but you want to have nice, as much good surface area as you possibly can. for this tape to adhere to. So let's get this done. Work on that. Let's get that in there. And try to get that side. Here we go. Same thing here. Let's get that tape. Try to get it worked in best we can. And that's pretty darn good. So I'm going to move to the next side. And let's get it. Let's align this up here. Tape edge along the coil. Get that one settled in first and pressed in. And then come along here. Work your fingernail right up against the edge of the cable tie and try to get a nice bond as we can here. And then we'll work this edge over. Do the same as we did on the other side. Keeping the edge there. You want to keep this out, obviously. We don't want to pull tie. Hardest part's this. You got to kind of work your thumb in and try to press that in. And we'll do the same over here. And then we can also, as we get going through, we can open the actual pocket itself and so what I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to open the pocket up. I'm going to pull the packing out and I'm going to work my thumb around the perimeter to get that everything, make sure the tape's adhering the best we possibly get it to. Okay, so at this point, just go around and make sure everything is completely sticking. Get those edges down really good. Just work it around really good. Get it pressed in. Definitely want to pay attention to these edges here because these are the tough ones to get here, depending on how wrinkled it was. And just work it around best you can. Get it everything settled. Okay, I think we're as good as we're gonna get. So let's turn this side out and see what we got. And once we do this, gotta make sure nothing pops off and get it to turn. Gotta twist it really good here. There we go. See, there's a twisting action you gotta do. It actually turns it over and make sure nothing pops. There we go. Last edge to twist. Make sure that tape is adhered good. Go around again real quick. Make sure nothing's switched. And you can just see how easy that is right there. I'll just hold it like this. Yeah. I put that in that pocket. I'm sure I'm gonna put that on the hip belt. That's gonna be awesome. But that's pretty much it. So just if you have two pockets, hip pockets, just make sure to go through and repeat steps 3 through 6. And if you only have two, obviously with the first step, you only need to for the tape, just measure off 13.5 to 14 inches of the Cuben fiber tape and cut 2 sections off. And then for step 2, the cable ties, obviously just cut two cable ties to the 12-inch length, and you'll be done. So I hope you enjoyed this. Hope you find it useful. And if you have any questions, feel free to leave me a comment down below. And I will also leave some links for sources for the Cuben fiber tape that I have, and try to find a link to the actual kind of cable ties to give you an idea exactly what you're looking at, so you can build a shopping list if you're going to do this modification. So hope you enjoyed it. See ya.